From Afar, A Chef's Culinary Journey Around the World, by Mike Sanders. Chapter 1, In the Blood. I'm a chef. I always have been. My entire life has revolved around food in one way or another, for you see, I come from an Italian family. If you haven't been a part of, or with, an Italian family during a festival, it can be summed up in one word: food. Lots and lots of food. Every holiday, religious or secular, was an occasion for a feast, as was every weekend. Each Sunday afternoon the family would get together after church for a feast of spaghetti with meatballs. I can still hear my little old Italian grandmother saying, "Eat, eat, your skin and bones." So I think it was inevitable that when it came time for me to get my first job, at the age of 15, it was in an Italian restaurant. I just thought it'd be for the summer, and I didn't expect it to amount to anything. I never would have guessed that someday I would end up working in the food service industry. Quite honestly, if I had, I probably would have gone running and screaming towards an electrician school. In the 25 years of my professional career, I've cooked everything from the finest food for movie stars on location to hot dogs for the masses at the ballpark. Food has been my life for as long as I can remember. In fact, one of my earliest memories is my attempt to cook breakfast for my mother and father. According to my mother and my fragmented memories, at the age of 3, I asked for a play stove complete with pots, pans, a little play refrigerator, and some dishes. By the age of 4, after playing with my kitchen for what amounted to my whole life, I thought I was ready to cook my very first meal. I confidently set out to the kitchen and gathered up everything I would need, and then brought it back to my room. I cracked the eggs, I called them eggies, into the large pan. I then added the bacon, which I called bacon, then the bread for the toast, or toe, and then some oatmeal, or wump as I called it, dumped right on top. In my mind's eye, I can still remember trying to mix the pile together with a giant wooden spoon. I also remember when I was done mixing it, most of it had fallen on the floor and been mashed into the gold shag carpet. As I recall it, my first attempt at cooking was a complete success, although my mother would probably have a different opinion on that. In any case, I think I was destined to become a chef from the start, whether I knew it or not. And on a side note, I think it's a pretty savvy 4-year-old who calls oatmeal by the sound it makes when it hits the bottom of the bowl. Wump. Case in point. Most little boys from my generation ask Santa for a toy truck, a ray gun, or maybe some army men. Not me. What did I ask for? A broom. Yep, that's right, a broom. That's frightening. The only thing I can figure that I was thinking is that I needed to go with my play stove and refrigerator, for the complete set, if you will. You know, honestly, if I had ended up being a gay man in my adult years, it might have made a little bit more sense. But from a future straight man, that's just not right.
For years, I didn't believe that I actually asked Santa for a broom. I thought it was one of those family legend things where a small story gets blown out of proportion over the years.
But my mother, being the diligent woman that she is, kept an extensive baby book on her children. Birth announcements, inches grown, monthly weight measurements, little envelopes with locks of baby hair. Everything was in the book. There was even an envelope containing 3 baby teeth, which I find really, really creepy. I still wonder what her reasoning and logic was behind that. The only thing that I can come up with is that she was saving them for some dark voodoo ritual later in life, or maybe a future do-it-at-home clone kit. In my early 20s, I rediscovered the browning yellowish book when I was packing up my dorm room at the end of a college semester. Needing a break, I sat down on the bed and quickly thumbed through the early pages of my life. Stuffed into the middle of the book was a little bundle of papers bound up with a thin strip of delicate lace. Age-stained and brittle, I was hesitant to untie it. Most of the papers were finger paintings or birth announcements, but a few of them were letters to Santa. Just by chance, the letter in question was the first thing I looked at. Scrolled across the top of the page, totally illegible blue squiggles. Down at the bottom was my mother's translation. Santa, aye good boy, give me broom, pan, and goat game. Shit. There it was. The cold hard truth written in my and my mother's own hand, staring me in the face. On the back was a small 1973 in black ballpoint pen. More of Mom's archival handiwork. A broom, a pan, and a goat game? Wow. What a weird little boy I was. Years later, my sister produced an old, faded Polaroid picture of me with my new broom on Christmas morning, the smile on my face clearly reflecting the joy in my heart. More proof. So I accept it now. I was a little boy who wanted a stove, pots and pans, and a broom from Santa. Obviously, I was thinking about kitchens before I was able to realize that I was thinking about kitchens. Since the age of 3, apparently. As an adult, I get to use pots and pans every day now, so, in a way, I guess I fulfilled that part of my boyhood dream. The only part that eludes me, and something I'm still trying to figure out, is exactly what the hell is a goat game?